have to, I must tell you, we're going to have to bring the women's team. You do know that.
Jeremy, there was some negative reaction to that and to the post-game video. Just what is your reaction to that?
Yeah, we should have reacted differently.
Donald Trump is facing backlash across the spectrum for his pig-headed remarks about the women's hockey team, and I'm here to break down all the drama that has happened in response, including a few members of the men's team who declined the invitation to the White House, and one who came out and condemned Trump's tired old sexist jokes. I'm also going to get into some very curious details about the political affiliations of some of these hockey players and how they're handling the fallout, so be sure to watch until the end. Please also consider subscribing if you enjoy my videos and want to see more. It's the best way to support my work. Anyway, Donald Trump has a severe case of twat mouth, which means he cannot help but say stupid, backwards things anytime he opens his stupid, backwards mouth. He also has a crippling case of twat brain, which makes him very liable to do something like the following, say.
What would really be cool, and we'll do the White House the next day, we'll just have some fun. We have medals for you guys. And we have to, I must tell you, we're going to have to bring the women's team. You do know that. I do believe I probably would be impeached, okay? But anyway, if you could work that out, I would be honored to have you. I'll introduce you to the...
If you didn't catch that, he's making a hilarious and not at all 1930s coded joke about how he basically has no choice but to invite the women's hockey team to the White House if he invites the men's, which is funny because women's sports are a total joke. Lol. I mean, they're not always a total joke, of course. If you want to use them to spread fear and vitriol to a tiny minority community, to pander to your base's need to direct their anger and insecurity somewhere, women's sports are suddenly very serious and must be protected at all costs. But when you're not trying to spread bigotry and hatred and just trying to, pop a few beers, do a few lines of blow, and watch the game on a taxpayer's dime while the Epstein files get mishandled, like, say, FBI Director Kash Patel, well, then women's sports go back to normal conservative hierarchical rules, which means they're an absolute joke, and the president can feel comfortable saying that in front of the whole world. Of course, not everyone in the world suffers from the same crippling case of twat brain, so there has been some interesting backlash to this event. Firstly, the women's team quite sensibly refused to go. Then, because we live in a simulation, Flavor Flav chimed in, yes, Flavor Flav, and offered to host the women's team in Vegas for a huge party to celebrate. Apparently, he's actually been a long-time supporter of women's sports, so good on him. And men's team player Jeremy Swayman came out and expressed regret for the conduct in the video and for what Trump said. Check this out.
Jeremy, there was some negative reaction to that and to the post-game video. Just what is your reaction to that?
Yeah, we should have reacted differently. We know that we are so excited for the women's team. We have so much respect for the women's team, and to share that gold medal with them is something that we're forever grateful for. And now that we're home, we get to share that together forever and see the incredible support that we have from the USA and sharing this incredible gold medal.
Which, yes, is a nice sentiment, but this guy still went along to the White House ceremony, still met happily with Donald Trump, which really sort of shows, I think, the sort of compartmentalization mindset that some people have, which is like, you're right, no, we shouldn't have laughed at the awful things the president said. And there's no lead-on thought of like, wait, the president said something awful, maybe he's a bad person. Just the thing of like, yeah, we shouldn't have laughed at it. Yeah, no, we shouldn't have laughed at what he said. We shouldn't have voted for him. Yeah, all that stuff. It's just there's no connection being made in their brains. And very interestingly, 5 members of the men's hockey team were no-shows at the White House event, including Kyle Connor of the Winnipeg Jets, Jake Guentzel of the Pittsburgh Penguins, Jackson Lacoma of the Anaheim Ducks. Are these real team names? These sound like a British person doing a joke about American sports team names. So, and including Brock Nelson of the Colorado Avalanche and Jake Ottinger of the Dallas Stars, and Timothy Nesbitt of the Hupanawa Heavy Hats, Chuck Buckley of the Mini Tonka Mini Fridges, and Siegfried Sixpack of the Yosemite Yodel Fucks. Oh, wait, that's a different list. Even more interestingly, all but one of these players are from Minnesota, the state that Donald Trump has turned into his private playground for fascist training activities. Of course, we can't just assume all these players refuse to go because they hate Donald Trump's guts. And the reality is, the world we live in is so fractious that it would be bold or very brave or maybe even stupid to publicly say that you refuse the invite for political reasons. Kyle Connor of the Winnipeg Jets, for example, told reporters, quote, "I'm just getting ready to play on Wednesday. We have a big second half, so I just wanted to make sure I was ready. Still, I personally take this statement with some suspicion. I've actually had the misfortune of going to Winnipeg a number of times in my life, and you'd have to be pretty desperate to choose to return to that place early. Trust me, Winnipeg is Canada's answer to the Fallout TV series. Another interesting development has happened on the flip side. Two of the men's team that went to the White House have shockingly come out of the bigot closet as MAGA, and their take on the whole thing is incredibly telling. So the Hugh brothers, Jack and Quinn Hughes, were pictured at the White House event, hanging out with everyone's favorite human beings, wearing, just in case you don't know, these are indeed Trump hats, as in they cost probably $40. They're made in China and they're cheap, tacky shit, just like the person they're modeled after. And these two little MAGA ding babies sat down for a fun chat with everyone's favorite state-sponsored fascist propaganda outlet, ABC.
Two national heroes, brothers Jack and Quinn Hughes. There they are to help lead the U.S. men's hockey team to its first Olympic gold medal since the Miracle on Ice 46 years ago. Congratulations to you, the entire team, and thank you so much for getting up and joining us here on GMA. And Jack, let me begin with you because, of course, we can't forget you scoring in OT like that against Canada of all teams. Have you had a chance to see the replay? Have you had a chance to see that goal in overtime? Jack?
Yeah.
Hello, is that anyone there? I mean, they are talking to MAGA people.
I have, I watched the replay a couple of times, but like since the game ended, we've been so busy. We hung in the locker room, enjoyed the moment with our team for a long time, and we went to the winter house and we enjoyed the win with our families. All of our friends came over.
What the fuck? What is this reality? What is he saying? What is he talking about? My God, I'm not actually. I know I come off like a dick. It's it's a personality. Like I swear I'm not actually a dick. I'm not actually pretentious about intelligence. There's many different forms of intelligence. Some people aren't great at speaking, but they have amazing maths. It's like a video game thing where you build a character. This guy is obviously a hockey genius. He put all his intelligence points into hockey. Public speaking, not so much. And it also makes you wonder, what about the political channel? Were many of these IQ points put into politics, or is the same thing that's making him go blah, 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 making him also be like, Donald Trump, good. He's speaky just like me.
I know that there's been like so much headlines and about us and the women's hockey team and the video, but we hung out we're in the cafeteria with them at 3:30 in the morning until our butt.
Well, we can tell you guys have been up.
So I believe this guy's point is there's been a lot of headlines about the women's hockey team, but we hung out with them in the cafeteria. So who cares if we're on video laughing at as the president of the USA makes a sexist joke about how the sport is a joke. We had lunch with them in the cafeteria.
Some more hot water there for your throats. Quinn, just give us, you had your own overtime goal up against Sweden. What was it like to watch your brother put that one away?
Yeah, I'm just extremely proud of him and the whole team, not only Jack, but our whole team. It's a great group of guys. We've been together for a long time, known most of these guys since we were young.
Just a great group of Trump-loving misogynists.
Since I was 6, 7, 8
Solid
years
group
old.
of dudes.
So it's very special for us and obviously a little bit more special just
Interesting they decided not to wear the MAGA hats for this appearance on TV.
to see, Jack score the game winner there, but yeah, extremely special.
And Quinn, you're a hockey family. You two are, obviously you two are NHL and gold medal winners. Your brother Luke is in the NHL. Your dad is a professional coach. Your mom is for player development for the women's national team who just won a gold medal. I'm just curious, was there a doubt that you grow up to be professional hockey players?
Oh, there's a bunch of doubt for sure. But you know how it is, and it takes a village, and we were so extremely lucky to have both the parents we had. Not only
it takes a village, as long as the village is made of men.
Just with their knowledge of the game, but they're just amazing people, and they didn't care whether it was hockey or soccer or lacrosse, whatever it was.
Quinn, Jack mentioned the celebration you had with the women's hockey team. They've said they're not going to be able to go to the State of the Union tonight. Will you guys be going?
I don't know how much I'm allowed to say, but yes, and yeah, we're excited to go. I mean, it's something you don't get to do. I don't know what today is.
That's what people are forgetting here. Some naysayers are like, maybe going to the White House when it's inhabited by a wannabe authoritarian, a petulant man-child, a diaper-shitting narcissist freak isn't the same thing as going when it's, inhabited by somebody at least vaguely respectable. Maybe even George W. Bush would have been slightly respectable to go to a White House at and be like, well, I don't agree with this guy, it's still an honor. Maybe, some naysayers are saying, well, this guy's actually trying to destroy American democracy, so going to see him in the White House, which is like the home of what is supposed to be Western democracy, is a bit ironic. But these are just guys that kick hockey pucks around. Why do they have to think about shit like that?
Yeah, but it's gonna be special for us. But I'm glad you mentioned the women's team again. We're extremely
I'm glad you mentioned the women's team again, because my agent gave me this statement to read. I like women.
happy for them. Obviously, a lot going on social media right now surrounding our team and their team. But in the last couple of summers, we did a lot of training with them and got to know a lot of those girls really well. Extremely happy to come and
Look at the way his brother's looking at him while he talks. Look at this guy. It's like he's a caveman who's seen fire for the first time.
I know a lot of those girls really well. Extremely happy to come and obviously.
I think why this story gets even more interesting is that their mother, Ellen Hughes, who herself was a silver medal winner in the 1992 Olympics, I believe, also spoke out about this event. And I think it's pretty fair to say, given the way she talks about it, the fact that her sons are, and the hats, that she's also firmly Team Marga, meaning the way she talks about this is just... Look at this. It's crazy.
Let me ask you about something that's getting a little traction, a video that came out afterwards. It shows the men's team talking to the President of the United States, and he was inviting them to the State of the Union and all that. And then he said a comment that gained attention. He said, I must tell you, we're going to have to bring the women's team. You know that? And the room kind of laughs. And he added, I do believe I probably would be impeached. He was sort of joking through this. But you're cheering on both teams. How did that comment land for you?
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's just about the country. And the moment that these players, both the men and women, can bring so much unity to a group and to a country. People that cheered on that don't watch hockey. People that have politics on one side or on the other side. And that's all both the men's team and the women's team care about. If you could see what we see from the inside, and the men and women sharing, dorm rooms and halls and flex floors, and the camaraderie and the synergy and the way the women cheered on the men and the way the men cheered on the women. Yeah. That's what it's all about.
These Republicans really just want to have their cake and eat it, don't they? It's crazy. It's like the Melania Trump movie. Like the amount of times in that movie, Melania Trump talked about how, equality is so important and we're all just human beings and her immigrant story is so important. And you're just like, what the actual fuck? This is the same shit. Like, she's in the classic Republican thing of wearing a big pair of glasses because, in lieu of facing the world as it is, showing your eyes, looking at people's souls, empathy and camaraderie and actual sort of understanding. Just pop a big pair of glasses on. Nobody can see your eyes. Nobody can know what you're thinking. You don't have to know what anyone else is thinking. You can just wander around in your own fucking world and pretend nothing matters. Jesus. It's just it's so ignorant because what they're basically saying is your president said that women's sports is a joke. You're a women's Olympian. You're a silver medal winner. What do you think about the president saying that women's sports is a joke? And the guy's laughing at it. And she's like, it's just about the country. It's like, no, it is about the country. Specifically about the president of this country saying that women's sports are a joke and laughing about it, on national TV. What about that? It's about the country. I just think the boys come together. They all been practicing together and training together and they have camaraderie. It's like, that's very nice. That's very nice. Sometimes serial killers have camaraderie with the people they murder shortly before they do the stabbing. What we're saying is, do you have any thoughts about being a Trump supporter and then him saying that women's sports are a fucking joke? Any thoughts on that? Crickets. Fucking crickets.
They care about humanity, they care about unity, and they care about the country.
Totally. And don't you love that Ellen's hoarse from all that screaming?
She's screaming for 2 weeks.
The audacity of these fuckers to say they care about humanity. That's why we vote for an authoritarian fascist who spreads racism and bigotry every second he can. We just care about humanity so much we want to see it destroyed. Fuck me, these people are unbelievable. Now, if you're wondering, maybe was this maybe worth it? Maybe these guys might have sold out their souls, their morals, their empathy, or maybe if they hadn't in the first place, for a chance to visit the White House, maybe they had to pretend that the world isn't burning so they could go to the White House and feel like special little boys. But if you're thinking, was it ultimately worth it? Is the White House that cool? Is Trump putting on the best party of all time? Well, here is the lovely slap-up meal they were treated to by Trump. Trump is obviously a very classy man, as we all know. So yes, we once again got McDonald's burgers. And some of the most god-awful music known to man. I don't know what the fuck that is, if it sounds absolutely horrendous. So yes, if you had no morals or empathy or conscience, you too could have gone to sit in a room that Donald Trump has covered in disgusting gilding and eat McDonald's burgers. Because the main problem with McDonald's burgers is just where they're eaten, basically. If you eat McDonald's burgers at McDonald's, it's like it's a pretty average experience. Eat them at the White House, oh boy, you feel special. Of course, this isn't the first time Trump has served burgers at the White House. It's literally all he knows. I mean, to him, that is fine dining. He just that's the world he lives in. He's just fucking clueless. Of course, it wasn't just a chance to eat McDonald's burgers in a tacky, gaudy room in the back of the White House. So they also got to be at the State of the Union and listen to Donald Trump make one of the longest speeches of all time, filled with the most lies of all time, and the most horseshit of all time. So, great job. I bet they made them feel really patriotic. Well done. Karma is a swift and merciless mistress, I shall say that. One of the things this instance shows is that there really is a huge disconnect between people who somehow still think that Donald Trump in 2026 is politics as normal, as business as normal. People are just being sensitive. Not just as the world crumbles, because the world's, crumbling and it's been crumbling, but the fact that his approval rating's now underwater, the fact that, he's going to get absolutely destroyed in the midterms, and there's still people dumb enough to be like, he's just a politician. I think we shouldn't be so divisive. If I didn't have a moral or ethical code, I'd like to live in a delusional world they live in. It must be pretty sweet, pretty peaceful. I'm British Chris, and this is Raw America.